Hi everyone, I'm going to show you how I contour. I already have my eyes done, so let's get to it. I use the Bobbi Brown foundation stick, and this is in the shade Almond. I'm feeling for my bones, so feel for your bones. And I like to start in the middle and just draw a little line right there, and I'm going to look a little crazy, but that's okay. And I draw a few dots on the top of my forehead, and I carve out my jawline. For my nose, I like to use the Benefit Hoola contour stick just because it's a little bit more of a neutral bronze and I don't like to get too orangey there. So it's the perfect shade in the powder form, so I just use the cream form. And this is my Luxie Beauty Nose Contour Brush from JD Wadey 180. And I'm just going to coat the cream side of the brush. It's dual-sided, one for powder, one for cream. And I'm just going to feel the side of my nose, almost where it connects with my crease of my eye, if that makes any sense. You just go along the bone towards the inner corner of your eye and follow that line down, and you can contour your nose any way that you feel is necessary for the shape of nose that you have or trying to achieve. And I just like a slight contour. I don't need to go too heavy on it, but I just give it a little bit of definition and a little bit of snatching. Moving on to the highlight portion with the concealer. This is the Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer, and I use the shade Light Beige. So I'm just going to go do the typical area under the eye, a little bit in the center of the forehead, and down the center of the nose. And just a touch on the chin. And now I look freakishly weird. So the first thing I'm going to blend out is my under eye concealer because I don't want that to sit on my under eye too long before it sets. And I'm using my number 22 Morphe brush. Will add that I sometimes use a beauty blender, but I just started using this brush and I kind of like the way it comes out a little bit better. I find the beauty blender kind of soaks up too much product. And if you're trying to cover up any under eye darkness, you really don't want to take away the product. So I really find this brush method has been really working for me. I left the last part on my nose to blend out last because I kind of want that to set for nose contouring purposes. Now to blend out the contour, my favorite brush for this is the Morphe 40. And my favorite thing to do is to use tapping motions. I don't want to move the product around. I really want it to stay where I placed it. It's just really a matter of blending it into the skin and making it look as seamless as possible without moving it too much, if that makes sense. Now on to blend that jawline out. I'm doing some sweeping motions in combination with some tapping. The reason for the sweeping is, well, I don't want this harsh line, so I'm trying to sweep it and blend it as much as I can and blending it a little bit into the neckline. Don't want this demarcation of this harsh dark line. So a little bit of sweeping, a little bit of tapping, just to get that contour just where it needs to be without it moving the product too much away. Taking care of that other side. I can't wait until it's all gone so I don't look crazy anymore. So again, a little bit of, tiny bit of sweeping and a lot of tapping. Like I said, you don't want to move the product too far around because you really want it to be exactly where you placed it. That is your bone structure. Where you placed it is where you want that contour. Getting that forehead blended, a little bit of swirling and tapping, combination of the two. Same thing with everywhere else. You want it to stay where you placed it, but you really want to blend it, so circular motions works here with tapping. A side note, I know some of you like to do the sides, more like your temples. I usually don't. I already have kind of a narrow face and I don't need to do that. But if you want to narrow out your face, feel free to add that contour towards your temples, almost like a C shape, if you will. So there'll be a C shape going from your forehead right into your cheekbones. I don't particularly think I need to do that, so I don't. Last but not least of the blending process, I'm going to finally blend out my nose contour, starting with the bridge of the nose first, where I put the concealer, so a little bit of tapping, A lot of tapping, actually, because I don't want anything to move around. I want everything exactly where I placed it. And then I'm going to take the Luxie brush that I used to place the contour, and I'm going to use that to blend it as well. So before I set my under eye with powder, I just want to tap out the under eye one more time to eliminate any creasing that could have occurred while I was blending. So my favorite for setting the under eye area for me that works for my skin, this is the Becca Hydra Mist powder. And I like to use it with the Beauty Blender Power Pocket Puff thing. Mine's a little dirty. It's okay. I just do a little dip, little tap, and I just press very so lightly. I can't put too much powder under my eye. It doesn't work for me, nor can I bake. So girls that bake, hats off to you, not for me. Then I figure while I'm here, might as well keep it going. Sometimes I don't use this powder all over my face, but it really is a beautiful powder and it works for me. Some people don't like it. I love it. So I'm just pressing a little light around my T-zone, underneath the contour. I'm pretty much setting my whole face with this at this point, just not the contour, and you'll see why in a second. Now I'm just going to set the contour with a little bit of the Marc Jacobs bronzer. This is in the shade Tantastic. I'm just tapping over it just to kind of set it. I'm really not adding any more depth of the color. I'm just setting it so nothing's moving. Apparently I'm doing my makeup for a photo shoot at this point. I mean, I can't say I do this all the time, but it really does help. Now I'm just adding a touch of blush. This is MAC Cosmetics in the shade Peaches, and some Fix Plus to meld the powders together, of course. My favorite thing to do is to spray Fix Plus right before I add highlight. This is the Dose of Colors highlight in the shade Fuego, one of my favorites. Adding it to the high points of my face, a little bit on the forehead, and the tip of the nose, and sometimes the Cupid's bow if I'm feeling it. I think I'll add a lip. Yeah, okay, that was cute.
Take your body through the back alley.